Hey guys, I'm Boot. We're in New Jersey, and today I just wanted to shoot a quick little vlog and talk about some things that have been going on with me, with the channel, with life in general. I feel like it's been a little while since I've done any kind of real vlogging, and just wanted to kind of put it out there with what's been going on with us. So lately, I have been in therapy over the last year, and I know I've mentioned it a couple times in some of the shorts and stuff. I've started doing individual therapy along with couples therapy, and not for any other reason than just to make things work better than they do already. Allie and I have a lot of different experiences, and so we bring those together to the table sometimes, and we don't always agree on things. We don't always agree on every situation. And so, of course, we had to learn to navigate and get the tools to navigate and communicate efficiently. That sounds just so crazy and just whatever. But, it is what it is. So in that, I've been learning a lot of things about myself, and I've been learning a lot of things about my wife and my family and just people in general. And, it's kind of made me look at things in a different perspective. And sometimes I just kind of have the perspective that some things are just too much for me to pay attention to. And not just people, but situations and things like that. So I kind of will take a back seat to those situations because I don't know how to deal with them, and I have trouble dealing with them, and I don't want to make people feel bad or argue with people, or even, I don't want to be self-righteous, if that sounds that way. But I do want to have a clear line of communication as to things that bother me with people, and when that happens, it's complicated, because of course you might be angry about something, or you might be, needing to just get out how you feel about something, and sometimes it gets taken the wrong way. Luckily, when that happens with myself and Allie, she's pretty understanding about me kind of just having that knee-jerk reaction. And that's kind of where I've been for a long time. Now that I'm starting to have the moment to myself to think about the scenario I'm in, that tends to help me a lot more than to just have a knee-jerk reaction and then try to apologize for it and move on from it later. And in that way, I hope that things get better over time. I know that things have gotten better really quickly as a matter of, looking at situations and perspectives a little differently, and also knowing when to try to push those boundaries just for comfort's sake. I also have extreme social anxiety, and so at times, I may not want to leave the house, may not want to go out and do things, and so it's not that I can't do it, it's just that I don't want to. It's mentally and physically exhausting for me to do some certain things. But it's not always bad either. Sometimes it's just getting out of my comfort zone a little bit, which that has a tremendous impact on how my progression goes. So anyways, enough about therapy and all that crap. So a couple months ago, I love those big chunky phone cases. And so when I got my iPhone 11, I got this really great chunky phone case. Put some super glue on it and put one of these magnetic tab things so I can just hang it up in the car. But I ended up throwing it, one time. I've thrown it a bunch of times, but probably about 6 months ago, I threw it, maybe even a year ago. Good Lord, it's been that long. I threw it to show how good my case was, and in that moment, I broke my screen. So I, have been having some trouble with my phone, the use of it, the screen protector I put over it to not break the glass any further. Finally cracked and, gave way to all kinds of mess. So I was trying to text. At the same time, I'm trying to text my wife. I'm sending $99 to a bunch of people in my contact list and calling China all at the same time, because it's just a mishmash of numbers being pressed and buttons being pressed on my phone. So with that, I made the decision to upgrade from the iPhone 11 Pro Max to a iPhone 12. I don't think it's Pro or Max or anything like that, just regular iPhone 12. The 11 Pro Max, the downfall I had was that it doesn't have 5G. And I don't know if anybody else with Straight Talk out there sees this and realizes that, if you have Straight Talk and you don't have 5G and you have constantly I'm having to restart my phone just to get service. That's been a big issue as well. And so I made the decision to upgrade to the iPhone 12. It's a little more expensive than I would like. I mean, I was going Android phones probably $200 to $250 every year. And so with the iPhone, I've had it for a few years. It's done me really, really well. I do plan to keep it in service as a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse with a HDMI output to run it on a computer. So more of like an iPad with keyboard and mouse. I don't know, but I'll probably make a video about that too, just to tell you what my experience is. But anyway, moving forward, I ordered this phone and I have to wait till the 30th, I believe, for it to be shipped. Ordered it through Walmart on a Black Friday deal. It was originally $399. I was trying to wait for it to come down to like $250, where the iPhone 11 Pro Max is now. But rather than do that, I figured I'd jump the shark. Order it right off the bat. As soon as it went down to $299, ordered it. So that's about that. As far as YouTube's been going, I've been doing a lot of gameplay lately. I've kind of made the conscious decision to get away from playing on my Xbox because I kind of said my computer does a bunch of things. And one of the things that I really don't want to push it with doing is gaming. And over the last year, I've picked up a couple of PC games. Had a really good time playing on the computer, and it's something I'm really starting to get into again. And so I've been playing a lot of Hogwarts Legacy over the last year, and I probably put about 60, maybe 70 something hours, 72 hours into the game, just playing around in the game. It's visually amazing to look at, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about as well, is I saw the Hogwarts Legacy just came out for the Nintendo Switch. Now, the Nintendo Switch, I think, is a great little console, being that it's handheld and it's dockable. Love that about it. It changes the face of gaming. If only I could take my PlayStation with me, or my Xbox with me when I was younger. It would have been one of the things I would have loved. And I always tried to, rig my way into some kind of portable gaming setup. But it was never really that portable, and if it was portable, it didn't have the power that some of the machines now do. And so this is I wish I grew up in this time frame as a child, because there's so many cool toys coming out. And as a 43-year-old man, I feel like I'm a 43-year-old, 16-year-old, because I love to play games. I love new tech. I love just things that captured my imagination as a kid that are realities today. And so, anyways, getting into the Switch, looking at some of the gameplay as it was recorded, it's very flat, the textures are not great, it's very blah. And speaking of blah, my camera today is a little potato. I am using a old webcam from 15 years ago, and my good camera right now, I'm just giving it a break. I really want to try to use it to record the sky overnight and just, get a really cool time lapse of the night sky. And I'd like to do that probably for about a week just to see what the differences are and kind of make a video of those in a time lapse and just see what it looks like, because I think that'd be really cool. I've seen, night sky time lapses before, but I just thought it'd be something cool to get into. Anyways, let's see. So getting back to, the release of the Hogwarts for the Switch, it was so flushed out. And even on my meager computer with a 5500 XT graphics card, I have been playing, and it looks so much better. Just so much better. So that's one of the things that concreted my decision to get away from Xbox Game Pass and cloud gaming, and just kind of jump into it on PC and just be done with Microsoft and be done with all of that. Just because I really learned that if I want to get a great gaming experience, I can drop a few $100s on a upscale graphics card, something really fancy, instead of buying a brand new console for like $600. You know what I mean? Especially with the market being what it is, and the scalper market, I could see just having issues upon issues of trying to get something that was probably mined on, and then having the ability to use that would be great at a discounted rate. With the scalpers, with the GPUs, I mean, it was just insanity. We recently had COVID a few months ago. That was a pretty weird experience because, first off, my mother-in-law is having chemo because she had cancer, and she started having chemo and the cancer went away. It went into remission, and then she found out she had 2 other types of cancer that were running rampant through her system. So that's been pretty rough. Her going through chemo, we've been quarantining at home and everything, and one of these times she went in for a procedure to have a port put in, and as they were putting in the port and that was all said and done, they said, if you have a fever of I think it was like 100 point something, you need to go to a hospital. And that night she wasn't feeling well, and we took her temperature and it was like 102 or something. It was hot. And with her coming off chemo, and having a low immune system response to begin with, and then on top of that, then going and finding out she had COVID, because we all had COVID, was very scary. I mean, extremely scary. To the point of where she was trying to explain away her fever, and I was like, no, you really need to go get checked out. Like, you're on chemo, you're immunocompromised. This is very scary. And she just kind of was like, oh, don't make that big of a deal. And it really makes me sad that people can act like that today. There's that saying I've heard over and over, that no one ever won an award for suffering in silence. And, but yet people do it every day. They suffer in silence because they feel like nobody wants to hear about it. Nobody wants to take the time to understand what's going on in somebody else's life and make a human connection. And I feel like we've really, really lost that as a society. We've really lost that human connection in a lot of ways. It's kind of like, I'm glad that there are cameras around everywhere now, because people are more accountable in public. And because they're more accountable, they're more likely to make decisions to better the social standing of the human race. And so, like if a person is being watched and they go into a grocery store and they ask, if they want to donate money, I know I don't do it most of the time, but, when they ask you if you want to round up your change to donate to things, I do that. That doesn't bother me. But, most of the time I don't want to be harassed about it at the register. I think it's a little bit of a, kind of a crappy time and a crappy place to be, asked that. I feel though, but there's no real good time to be asked if you'd like to donate to a charity, or if you have the money to donate to a charity, which, not many people really do in this day and age. There are a lot of things that get helped and a lot of, charities and GoFundMes and things like that really help people out, but I'm not used to that. I don't see that kind of thing on the daily anymore. Well, now I do. And, I think it's just because of the people I surround myself with. People I call friends. They are just amazing people who would give you the shirt off their back and some skin on top. And those are the kind of people that I love to be friends with, because, if I found myself in a position where I'm able to help somebody else, I try my damnedest to do that. And that has taken a lot out of me over years and years and years, to a point where I've gotten to be kind of like, oh, yeah, well, I can help this person, but look at my situation. My situation sucks. How am I going to help somebody else when I can't even help myself? But that's not necessarily true. You can help people just by being there, just by listening, just by, understanding what somebody else is going through and making that connection. And, I never really felt that way for a long time. I felt like I was just going to do good and good and good, and cosmic karma would catch up one day. And I kind of feel like that's kind of a pipe dream. I feel like that's a pipe dream. I feel like if you want something to happen for yourself, you got to make it happen. And if you can make something happen for somebody else, then, you're not obligated, but it is, in the best interest of humankind and just being a decent person to do those things. So, I learned a very funny term this week that I've heard it tossed around and I never understood it for the longest time. And it's probably one of my favorite terms, but it's so messed up at the same time. And I want to preface this by saying, like, I don't have anything against the LGBTQ community in general, but there are the few that are just over the top. And, these are the ones you see posted all over the internet. And it makes me so insane that, people can identify as whatever they want sexually, and that is being shoved in my face. I don't care what you have between your legs. I don't care what you don't have between your legs. It doesn't matter to me. To me, you are either her or him, and that's it. If you identify as something else, I'm sorry, but what do I call you? Yeah, that's a thing. And, if I have to call you by something else, then 9 out of 10 times I will probably get it wrong. 9 out of 10. Just because I'm very forgetful. And that's a very odd, not normal thing. While, tolerance is being, one thing. It's okay to be tolerant, but how much tolerance do you have to put up with people who want to shove it in my face? I don't care what you're having sex with, who you're having sex with. Well, unless it's kids, you know what I mean? I have no patience for kiddie and, get really. But the thing of it is that I have no tolerance for people who want to shove that crap in my face. I don't care who you're banging. I don't care what you're banging. I don't care if you're banging fruit, banging inanimate objects. I don't care. That's for you to be doing in the bedroom, not in public. if I work with somebody and we have a mutual respect and friendship, that's one thing. I don't care who they're fucking. It's not up to me to say that or say yes, no, approval, disapproval, judgments, no judgments, none of that. That is not on my plate. And if you put it on my plate, you're going to get an answer you don't like most of the time, sadly. So, anyways, and those people I've heard referred to as the Alphabet Mafia. So I just kind of was like, wow, that is the best way I've heard it described, because I don't even know how many letters there are to this anymore. Symbols, letters, pictographs, hieroglyphics, whatever you want to add to it, it doesn't matter. It's the Alphabet Mafia. And, I don't lump those people in with the actual LGBTQ plus community. I just lump them into the people who, have to shove it in my face. I don't need to know. Don't need to know what happens between you and whoever is in the bedroom, not in public. I don't need to know. Doesn't have any bearing on how I feel about you as a person. So, there's that. Unpopular opinion, maybe. But, only thing I could say is leave your feedback down in the comments, and maybe we'll have a interesting conversation about it. Maybe you could change my mind. Who knows? But ultimately, I lean towards the side of tolerance for the most part. Never really have anything negative to say, except for when I see it plastered all over the internet. And that's something that has me really thinking lately as well. As far as things being plastered on the internet, people live in absolute fear because they see crazy, horrific things happen on the internet. And so many of these crazy, horrific things that you see happen on the internet, those are one-off cases that happen. I mean, there are a lot of people in this world and a lot of people on the internet. So, of course, for every single person, if you have one crazy story, that adds up to billions of stories, So, of course, that's not exactly reality. Areas that we might think have a reputation probably are no worse than where you or I live, And that's just something I find very interesting about the internet and the world we live in today. It's very internet-centric. I get all my news from the internet, and I have to really, really dig to get my news, because if we're going to be honest, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of information that has nothing to do with anything out there, and there's a thing I saw during the pandemic that was this dude, Jesus Christ, on YouTube. He did this thing called the Good News Show, where he would give you news stories that had a positive spin. And it's not something you see very often, because, Jesus, even turn on the TV, live broadcast television, and they're talking about this one got shot, this one got stabbed, there was a rape, this and that. This one's under suspicion of, murder. And the world we live in is a really messed up place, but it's only as messed up as the people who are the most messed up can dream it to be. You know what I mean? Because sometimes things that happen, we never even dreamed for it to happen. So, aside from that, it is Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, guys. If you made it this far, leave me a like. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.